John Richard Deacon was born on August 1951 in Leicester, England. As a child he developed a passion for electronics while also taking up music heaving influenced by the Beatles. Deacon joined his first band the Audition in 1965 at the age of 14. The band played covers of chart hits. Deacon played rhythm guitar using an instrument he bought with money borrowed from the group's founder Richard Young. He switched to bass the following year after the original bassist was fired for not improving his playing as much as the other members, as well as a dedicated musician. Deacon also was the band's archivist, taking clippings from newspapers of even the advertisements featuring the opposition. After being in the band for 4 years, not long after the group cut an acetate of 3 songs, Deacon played his final concert with the band in August 1969. He left as he had been accepted to study at Chelsea College in London, where he obtained a first-class honours degree in electronics in 1971. Having become a fan of Deep Purple, he saw the group perform the Concerto for Group and Orchestra with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra at the Royal Albert Hall that September. Although he left his bass and amplifier at home in Oadby, after less than a year of studying in London, Deacon decided he wanted to join a band. In 1970 Freddie Mercury, Brian May and Roger Taylor formed Queen. Deacon saw them in October that year but was not immediately impressed. Later in the year he briefly formed a band called Deacon that made one live appearance at Chelsea College. In early 1971 Deacon was introduced to Taylor and May by a friend at a disco who told him that they were in a band that had just lost its bassist. A couple of days later he auditioned in a lecture room at Imperial College London and became the last member of Queen to join. Deacon was the youngest member of the band. Deacon was selected for his musical talent, his quiet demeanour and his electrical skills. A persistent legend claims Deacon was the 7th bassist auditioned. On Queen's first album he was credited as Deacon John to make him sound more interesting. He asked to be credited under his real name, which was done on all albums from Queen 2 onwards. Deacon's first writing credit came on Queen's 3rd album Sheer Heart Attack. He wrote Misfire, a Caribbean-themed song on which he played almost all guitar parts, and co-wrote Stone Cold Crazy with the rest of the band. He also played some guide guitar parts on the album, as May was hospitalised with hepatitis when recording started. His second song, written for his wife to be Veronica, You're My Best Friend, was featured on the group's 4th album A Night at the Opera and went on to be an international hit. Subsequently Deacon tended to write 1 or 2 songs for every Queen album until the Miracle and Innuendo, which credited the band as a whole. He wrote the hit Another One Bites the Dust as a dance song based on his early love of soul. The song saw radio play on both black and white US music stations, quickly becoming one of the band's best-selling singles. Deacon would collaborate with Mercury throughout the early 1980s, helping push the band's musical direction towards a lighter disco sound. Deacon's collaboration with Mercury culminated in the release of the band's 1982 album Hot Space. He played rhythm guitar on the opening Staying Power because of his soul and Motown-influenced style, and insisted on playing guitar on his own composition Backchat, not allowing May to play any guitar solos because the style did not fit what Deacon wanted. This led to an acrimonious argument between the two. Backchat, and the album as a whole, would prove commercially unsuccessful, leading to the band returning to their rock roots in subsequent albums. By the mid-1980s Deacon had started to play with other bands as well. He performed on the single Picking Up Sounds by Man Friday and Jive Jr., a supergroup also featuring Thin Lizzy's Scott Gorham, Bad Company's Simon Kirke and Mick Ralphs and The Pretenders' Martin Chambers, and played with The Immortals, which released the track No Turning Back as part of the soundtrack to the film Biggles' Adventures in Time. Deacon played bass on Mercury's single with Montserrat Caballé How Can I Go On, and also worked with Elton John and Hot Chocolate's Errol Brown. Deacon was so upset by Mercury's death in November 1991 that it resulted in a significant reduction in his musical activity. He said, "As far as we are concerned, this is it. There is no point carrying on, it is impossible to replace Freddie." After playing live with Queen 3 more times at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert for AIDS awareness on the 20th of April 1992, in a charity concert with Roger Taylor at Cowdray House in Midhurst on the 18th of September 1993, and at the opening of the Bayard Ballet in Paris on the 17th of January 1997, performing Only the Show Must Go On with Elton John on lead vocals, he decided to retire from music. He reappeared only briefly by joining his former bandmates in October 1997 for the recording of the final Queen song No One But You, included on the Queen Rocks album released a month later. Deacon has reportedly spoken unfavorably about the May Taylor, Robbie Williams cover of We Are the Champions recorded for A Knight's Tale.